Day 4 of the challenge, and today is the final day. So you've worked through your basic setup, you've worked through how to batch and lay out your week, you've worked through how to create your clear messaging, and now we're going to dive into one of my favorite things to do on Instagram, which is using the native features to boost engagement. And these can include question boxes, they can include polls, you can add your location, really whatever works for you, your niche, and your storyline. It's very simple, but people love pressing buttons. There's something satisfying about pressing a button and then seeing the responses start to come in of, who else is guessing this? Am I guessing wrong? Hey, I got this one right. We always recommend starting with easy questions with very straightforward responses. So think yes, no questions, think things that aren't super raw or vulnerable, things that people would be like, yep, I can totally answer that. It'll help pull them in so that they can then answer the harder questions that you are going to want to ask. We also recommend building it into your storyline instead of having just a random question box. For instance, if we're going to go on a date on Saturday night, for instance, I'm not just going to post up a box being like, recommendations for best restaurant in downtown Madison. No, maybe I'll go face the camera, say, hey, Kyle and I are going on a date this weekend. We've tried out this restaurant and this restaurant. We love that type. We're looking for steaks with great wine. What do you recommend? And then hit them with that question box. It gives them more of a story so that they aren't just going to give you blind feedback. So you can actually use it and they feel more needed. Using the native features is a really great way to get feedback that you can then use in your business. So for instance, a storyline on the struggles that you guys face with Instagram helped us to create and frame this entire challenge. So they can definitely be very, very beneficial. It's a win-win because your followers feel heard and you can gather valuable feedback at the same time. And plainly put, adding these features makes it fun and engaging. So in today's email, you are prompted to think of different things that you would like to know about your audience. And I believe we said 4 different things that you would like to gather from your audience. For starters, use the same background. We recommend creating that in Canva. It's not very distracting. It gives consistency across your storyline. So even if you're like, I don't really know what to talk about today, at least you'll have consistency with having that Canva backdrop. Ask 4 separate questions on 4 separate slides. Give them a really easy call to action so you're not saying, we want this and this and this and this all in one frame. Break it out. It makes it less confusing and you can gather all the valuable feedback. We're going to use the example of a working motherhood account, for instance, and your offer is a free webinar that you have coming up on work-life balance. So what could this look like as far as using Instagram's native features to engage your audience and gather valuable feedback for your business? Number 1, ask that easy question. So the question could be, is your work outside the home? Yes, no. Right away, anybody who isn't a working mother, as in a career outside of the home, they're not going to be part of this. So right away, it's like, nope, not, okay, these next ones probably aren't going to be for me. Easy question, yes, no, not too vulnerable, on to the next one. The second question, make it maybe a positive question. So you could say, what do you love most about working motherhood? You can maybe do a quiz of 4 different choices so that they kind of jog their memory a little bit. And what's nice with that is that with the quiz with 4 different choices, you can kind of see as a consumer and as the creator, what percentages of people are answering on which different level. Number 3, get to their challenge. So now you've buttered them up with an easy question, you've pulled in some positivity. Number 3 is get to the challenge question. So you could say, what is the hardest part about working motherhood for you? Maybe have a question box so that they can share their heart. It's not a yes, no, it's not a choose from these ones. It's really trying to get at what is so hard for them. And then number 4, maybe make them think a little bit. So you could say, how do you feel like you are balancing work and home life? And then have one of those slide bars. That way, if they're going all the way to the end being like, I'm dominating it, they can feel good about pulling it all the way over. Or if they're like, ugh, you know what? I'm kind of struggling in this department. They can maybe only pull it over part of the way, but it's up to them and it kind of makes them think about where they are in that. So I did say 4 slides, but I'm actually going to add on the 5th slide, and that's adding in your offer. So they just had finished answering the easy question of, is your work outside the home? The positive question of, what do you love about working motherhood? You brought in their challenge. So what's the hardest part? And then that makes them think question of, how do you feel like you are balancing work and home life? And because you just had that work and home life, hit them now with a link to your free webinar on balancing work and life in motherhood. They already just clicked that they answered how they feel in that as it relates to work-life balance, and it's easy to draw on your offer this way. Bonus, if you go face to camera or maybe have like a video or some nice Canva graphics that clearly lay out exactly what's offered in that webinar, because that'll add just even more to your storyline. So kind of get that, those 5 different steps. You can always go back to this and kind of get a good idea, or figure out what that looks like with you, your business, and your niche. So obviously make this unique to you, make it unique to your audience, but this creates engagement while also leading them into your offer. You're able to pull in valuable information from your audience, and once in a while, you can throw in that link. Alternate this with just serving storylines. So at PHP, we always recommend serve, 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 and then sell. And this will also help to further facilitate an account with even more engagement. As we know, engagement equals trust. Trust equals loyalty. And loyal followers are more likely to buy from you. So we're so excited to see the ways that you're using the native Instagram features, and let us know what you think. I'm going to give you a tiny little tidbit here. Using the native Instagram features isn't only great for your business and for your followers, but Instagram also loves when you use the stuff that's native to them. So they are going to push your stories in the algorithm out to even more people. I don't want to get too confusing, but it's just a fancy way of saying, if you use their features, you're going to show up in more people's storylines, which means more followers, more engagement, and more sales for you.